Hello, this is Brian. I want to welcome you to another episode of Spotlight on Trees. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, and I'm on Onyx Peak in the San Bernardino Mountains in the San Bernardino National Forest. And today's episode focuses on a very common large shrub to small tree called the Leaf Mountain Mahogany, or curly Cercocarpus. This is Cercocarpus ledifolius. It's a pretty common fixture here in the Intermountain West. Pardon me, sorry about that. It's a very common fixture in the western United States. Basically, just about any state west of the Rocky Mountains should have this in some form or another. Now, where I am is I'm in southwestern California, and I'm about an elevation of 9,100 feet. Onyx Peak is 9,113 at its very apex. The name Leaf Mountain Mahogany comes from the fact that the leaves curl on their edges. So you can see here, you can see that they're a little bit revolute. They kind of curve down from the midrib, kind of curl down. Now, there are three different varieties I know of curly Cercocarpus. You got Cercocarpus ledifolius variety ledifolius. You got Cercocarpus ledifolius variety intricatus. And then Cercocarpus ledifolius variety intermontanus. This right here is variety intermontanus. Did a little research before coming up here and hiking to find out what the difference is between the varieties of Leaf Mountain Mahogany are. Well, our variety intermontanus has wider leaves that are not quite as curled under as some other varieties, like variety ledifolius. Ledifolius is supposed to have really small leaves and very hairy underneath, and Cercocarpus ledifolius variety intricatus is supposed to be a very dense shrub. And I picked that up on AmericanSouthwest.net, doing a little research, trying to make sure that when I do a spotlight, I have the right variety to present. And this is variety intermontanus, the larger leaves, wider leaves, I should say. It's got wider leaves. The other varieties are narrower and more curled. So our Cercocarpus here has very, very furrowed bark, very furrowed and kind of flaky. And it can range from a medium to a tall, large shrub to a small tree. Now, the ones up here are very long-lived. These probably are over 1,000 years old. Either that or they haven't been disturbed by fire in over 1,000 years. It could be even older than we thought. It's a very slow-growing shrub. It's related to the birchleaf Cercocarpus, or birchleaf mountain mahogany. I did a video on the end of December. It's a close relative of it, and occasionally they will intergrade, especially on the desert side of the mountains, or the higher elevations. We are not that far from the Mojave Desert, but I have been able to find this on the coastal side of the San Gabriel Mountains. This shrub slash small tree is very common in the San Gabriels too. If you've seen any of my hiking videos, I'm pointing this out all the time. Wherever I find it, I say, oh, here's Cercocarpus ledifolius variety intermontanus. Well, these ones are pretty exceptional specimens here, considering the fact that they have fairly well-defined trunks, multiples of them, but fairly well-defined trunks. A lot of the ones lower down along the way up here are basically your thickets, your thicket-forming shrubs. Then some of them get quite erect, and they form these little basically little trees. We got some more over here. So basically anywhere where you have mountains you're going to have this. And you can also find these Cercocarpus in our desert mountains too. It's very common here in Pinyon-Juniper woodland. See, here we got the characteristics of high elevation Pinyon-Juniper woodland. So common associates would include single-leaf pinyon, Pinus monophylla, Sierra juniper, Juniperus grandis, and then often found with more moisture-liking trees like white fir, Ibeus concolor, Jeffrey pine, Pinus Jeffrey, even sugar pine, incense cedar sometimes. But these can grow at quite a high elevation. I believe they can grow to well over 10,000 feet up above sea level. And we're basically, wherever you have some dry areas like this, you could pretty much bet your bottom dollar you're going to find curly Cercocarpus. So in the springtime, they get these little yellowish flowers. The flowers have kind of faded away. These things are the remnants of the flowers. So we're a little past the flower season. But now you can see these little strings. These little strings are going to become the seed of the shrub. So what's going to happen is they're going to keep growing like this, grow like a long string, and eventually these feathery things are going to start coming out. So you can kind of, it's kind of hard to see here, but eventually these little feathery hairs are going to start branching out, and they're going to look like bird feathers, curly bird feathers coming out. And that's what the fruit of the curly Cercocarpus. This is pretty similar to other species of Cercocarpus, and I've seen two other species of Cercocarpus here in Southern California: Cercocarpus betuloides, variety betuloides, and Cercocarpus minutiflorus, which is more of a native of San Diego County. But this one here can get quite large, and I believe they can get up to at least 30 feet tall. Another good place to see old specimens like these would be near the Big Bear Discovery Center near Fawnskin. You'll be able to see some very old ones there too. There are not quite as many of these old ones that in my experience, in the San Gabriels. I've seen a few older ones there in the San Gabriels, and like I said, they're very common in the San Gabriels. And you'll find these up and down the Sierras, Northern California. You'll find them up there. So, but in the Sierras, it's more of an east slope tree as opposed to a west slope tree. So, curly Cercocarpus. Curly leaves that curl under at the edges. Comes from basically a medium to large shrub to sometimes a small tree. With age and without fire disturbance, they can become quite a spectacle. And I've seen them up to at least 20-something feet tall. Some even larger ones, like I said, over by the Big Bear Discovery Center. You're going to see some quite large specimens of it. But a lot of times they're going to be smaller, especially in areas that get fire damage, because they have to take the time to resprout and regrow from their root crowns when they get burnt. So this area probably hasn't been disturbed by fire in a very long time. So that's why these have developed these large trunks. Again, you're most likely to see these in drier yellow pine forest and Pinyon-Juniper woodland, and even in high desert communities. Elevation-wise, they have quite a range. I've seen them as low as about 5,000 feet. But I imagine they can sometimes get established lower than that. And, of course, I believe they could be found up to well over 10,000 feet, probably in the Sierras. Southern California only has a few spots above 10,000 feet, so it's really not much to compare that with. But These old Cercocarpus specimens are very neat to look at. Here's a really old one here. Doesn't have a lot of living tissue left on it. But these things get very gnarly with age. This one's got a huge old trunk on it. Humongous old trunk. Again, furrowed bark, sometimes flaky. So these are quite the picturesque survivors. So here's another one here. Another multi-trunked, almost bonsai looking. They have that quite bonsai look to them. All natural. It's all nature here. So if you ever come up, take a look at curly Cercocarpus. Cercocarpus ledifolius. And ours is variety intermontanus. Though, if you go on Calflora, I have seen vouchers for the other varieties, intricatus and variety ledifolius. So that's why I wanted to take some time to discuss the other varieties as well. Because usually when I do a spotlight, it's very variety or very subspecies specific. But these all are variety intermontanus. So you don't have to worry about trying to scratch your head. But again, quite a beautiful specimen. And Cercocarpus is in the rose family, the Rosaceae. So it's actually in the same family as roses, apples, pears, peaches, cherries. It's in the same family. Common chamise. It's all in the same family. So this is in the same family as your garden roses, albeit not as closely related as they would be to other Cercocarpus species. But yeah, this is in the rose family, and these are always a very, very pleasurable sight to see when you're hiking in the mountains, especially these old specimens here. But look at it, look at this. This is an old trunk of one right here. So very picturesque, very rugged, extremely hardy. They could basically tolerate desert conditions. But then they can also sometimes be found in thicket of forest too. But there you have it. Leaf Mountain Mahogany, Leaf Cercocarpus, Cercocarpus ledifolius. I hope you found this video interesting and helpful in identifying your local SoCal natives. I really hope that you found this interesting, and hope to see you soon for another episode of Spotlight on Trees. Thanks for watching.